to bear with me, please. Just standing here, I am so very humbled and thankful simply to be standing here. So if I get emotional through this speech, please know that it's because from the bottom of my heart, I am thankful to be here. I'm going to grab the tissues right now because I believe they're under here. Thank you, Jackie and Season. They are here. Okay. Hi, good morning. Am I excited to be here? Yes, literally. I am excited to literally be standing here with you and in front of you today. My name is Jennifer. My friends call me Jen. I'm a writer. It's my heart. And it's actually my gift too. All of us in this room, we have our gifts and our talents. This one happens to be mine, and maybe cooking too. So public speaking, it's not something I do often. I prefer to sit behind the screen. It's my safe place. But that seems to be changing these days, and I'm embracing it, like this moment here today. I've thought about what I wanted to share with you today and how I wanted to share it. I write like I speak to a room full of friends. And so for the remainder of today, and perhaps outside of these doors, you can now call me Jen because I'm now a friend. And I'd like to look at all of you like my new friends because it will allow me to comfortably share my heart here with you today. If you would bear with me for a moment before I officially begin, I'm supposed to take this moment in. I just want to look around the room and look at all of your beautiful faces because I'd like to take this snapshot of this moment here with me home today. Because there is victory in this moment right here. Because this moment is one I never thought I'd have. And perhaps because this moment is the exact opposite of what stage 4 lung cancer is supposed to look like. I am a walking miracle, and there are more of us out here. But this isn't the norm, not yet. There is still work that needs to be done. Work that the American Lung Association is committed to. And so when asked if I'd speak today, with bells on, I said yes. If I didn't tell you that I was diagnosed 2.5 years ago with stage 4 lung cancer, you'd probably never know. A genetic mutation of lung cancer that my mother passed away from when I was just 17 years old. I saw her suffer. I drove her to her chemo appointments, the draining of her lungs. I held her hand and witnessed her deteriorate right before my eyes physically, but never in spirit. You see, back then, 20 years ago, there wasn't the research, funding, and/or resources available that are today. She was diagnosed with stage 2. I have been diagnosed with terminal stage 4. So how did I get here? 2.5 years ago, I had a cough that wouldn't go away. I went to doctor after doctor asking to be scanned, to be given an x-ray, something. I shared my history. I shared my mother's too. I was a statistic waiting to happen, a high-risk one. I was told everything from, you're too young to get cancer, although my own mother had it at the same age I was. Or, I can only scan your throat and ears because I'm not a lung doctor. With no referral, no follow-up, nothing. This was another doctor who, after I gladly paid my copay, just sent me on my way. So we went home, and I hoped that it would just go away. We were living in Colorado at the time. My husband and I moved there to open up the first Trader Joe's. It was an exciting new adventure for us as a semi-newly married, very pregnant couple. Kevin, my husband, if we could just say hello to Kevin. Hey, Kevin. He's the real hero. And my daughter, Ozzy. Ozzy, say hi. It's Ozzy. They are my heart. And I like to say they are the true heroes because it's the truth. Kevin has worked for Trader Joe's for over 20 years, and they have been absolutely magnificent to us in this fight. So there we were in Colorado, opening the first store there. We bought our first home. We had our first child, Ozzy, who is now 1.5 years old. And being a classically trained chef and mother of a child with severe food allergies, I had started an allergy-friendly food company that had taken off rather quickly. Our dreams were coming true, yet deep down I knew something was wrong, something pretty serious. I had just turned 37, the same age my mom was when she was first diagnosed. In a 3-year commitment with Trader Joe's in Colorado, and only fulfilling 2 at this point, I asked my husband to ask his regional boss to allow us to return home to Seattle. Something was wrong, and although we didn't know what, we needed to get home, and as soon as possible. I share this part of my story because it's so very important that I lovingly urge you all to listen to your body. Listen to that voice inside of you and be your own and best advocate. Your voice matters. Your voice matters, just like mine does. I pray that my voice today brings a message to you that will encourage you to listen to your own inner voice. Honor it. Let it be louder than any fear you may have of the unknown. After seeing my mom fight and pass away from lung cancer, and after having to say goodbye to my very best friend, I was so scared. Getting cancer was my biggest fear. I certainly never wanted to be the poster child for it. We returned to Seattle and we started looking for a home here. It was in 2016, so anyone in this room aware of the market at that time knows you had like maybe 5 minutes to put an offer in on a home. Some of you might have been through that too, I guess. Bear with me for just one moment, please. We lost out on home after being outbid a good 4 or 5 times. I remember I would drive around with Ozzy in the car while Kevin was at work. She was my little real estate buddy and was so happy to be along for the ride. I don't typically brag about my own child, but I don't know many toddlers excited to be house hunting. But she did, and we still like to look at houses to this day. Ozzy and I would start really early. We'd pack a lunch and visit beautiful parks from Seattle to Bothell and in between. I was absolutely exhausted. Something that was supposed to be fun and exhilarating was really difficult for me to do physically. I just didn't have the energy I once had. So I found a doctor and I thought, okay, let's try this again. Maybe this one would hear me. I found Dr. Buchanan, a female naturopath who said, you know what? Given your history, and your mother's too, and given that you're asking that we scan your lungs due to that cough, let's just do it. If anything, it will be peace of mind. Finally, someone who heard me, someone who listened. 3 days later, Kevin, Ozzy, and I in her office were told to go directly to the ER. We went and they conducted more scans. At first, we were told it could be pneumonia. This disease is often misdiagnosed, especially in women. After more scanning and testing, we were then told to go upstairs and meet with a doctor, an oncologist. It was there that we were introduced to a doctor who 5 minutes before was a complete stranger. I'm sorry, Miss Sabunchi, you have terminal stage 4 lung cancer. The words I had feared my entire life, yet I never even thought to attach stage 4 to them, not before this moment. As weeks progressed and we now lived a new existence that nothing could prepare us for, we found out it had spread to my brain and all over my body. The reason I couldn't walk. This new existence included a conversation I will never forget that I had with Ozzy, who was then 2. We woke up one morning, again to my hair all over the throw pillows on our couch. It had been falling out in chunks. It was time to shave my head and try and get ahead of the inevitable. Mommy, can I help you? Please let me help you shave your head. It was then I realized that Kev and I couldn't protect her from the pain, from the markers of this disease. But we had a choice. So we chose then and have since to teach Ozzy that even though the storms will come, that she is to learn how to look them in the eye and even dance in them. In this case, helping Mommy shave my head. embracing this new stage in this fight. We couldn't control what was happening, but we did have a choice on how we were going to proceed, and that we were never going to stop dancing, no matter what. We were seeing a very good doctor, one of the top doctors, just not my doctor, meaning we were learning that we had to advocate for ourselves still. That never stops. And he just wasn't the right fit for us. He wasn't the right fit for me. It wasn't until I found Dr. Chen, a doctor a dear friend of mine used to work for. One day Mia said, "I have a doctor you may want to try. I think he may be a good fit." The first meeting I had with him, I could barely lift my head. My Bubba, that's Dad in Farsi, had flown in from California to be by my side, and he and Kevin were with me. I could hear laughter from behind a door as we waited in the waiting room. A lot of laughter, actually, from behind that door. Nervous, sick, yet still having my humor about me. That's actually how I knew I wasn't dead yet. I leaned over to my husband and I said, "Either I'm going crazy or the patients are. Why is there laughter coming from behind that door?" I soon found out that's how it is at Dr. Chen's and at SICC. And although each of us are fighting a fight, all sorts of cancers, and fighting hard, these people had joy and hope, and I was about to become a part of this very special group of people who believed that they could help me. As we walked into exam room 1, my dad on one side and Kev on the other, I was hunched over, clinging on to my husband and my Bubba as tight as I was Hope. What was discussed in exam room 1 that day was such a blur to me, all of it, much like the last 6 months had been, except for one moment. I looked up at Dr. Chen, very slowly lifting my head. It took all I had to physically lift my head to ask just one question. "Dr. Chen, will you help me live?" With tears in his eyes, he responded, "Yes, I have hope. I have hope for you." That was all I needed. A doctor who would do all he could to help me live. A doctor who believed. A doctor who had hope, the kind that matched mine. There have been days that this battle has been so very hard. In the beginning, I used to say to my husband, "Kev, this is so hard. It's so hard on you and Ozzy, on our family. This has got to count. I need this to count for something." Never, ever did I think I'd be standing in a room full of people at a gala brunch, honoring women who have been such amazing parts of this community and society. I'm sorry, I really never thought I'd be here, and this is, again, just such an honor. But this is what pain turned into purpose looks like. This is what hope looks like. We've been here just over 10 minutes now in this speech. Within that time, 2 women have been told they have lung cancer. 2 women have passed away from lung cancer. It is the #1 cause of death among men and women. My mom didn't have all the resources I have to fight this fight. It's a new day for those who are told they have cancer. Yes, this road is hard. Yes, this road requires a lot, which includes research, funding, and resources. It also requires allies, those who are doing everything they can for people like me. Allies with hope propelling them forward in this fight. And I full-heartedly believe that the American Lung Association is an ally of mine. I am a 40-year-old mother with a beautiful 4.5-year-old daughter. And I say that half because it's so important to Ozzy. If I don't, she will scream it from there. As I was practicing my speech and I wouldn't mention it, every time she'd say, "The half, Mommy, the half." I also have a husband who I happen to still be in love with. I have friends who love me and who I dearly love back. I have a Bubba who hopes his daughter doesn't die of the same disease that took his wife 20 years before. and I still have hopes and dreams in this lifetime. Since its inception, the Lung Force Initiative within the American Lung Association has raised more than $12.5 million to support 70 research grants focused on lung cancer alone. But most of all, the American Lung Association has put forth effort that mirrors the hope for people like me, for people like us. So where am I today? I get this question a lot, actually. After being diagnosed and initially asked, how would you like to die comfortably, instead of how can we help you live, a lot has happened. Since preparing for my death and mourning the loss of my own life, from my deathbed, I started writing for my Edmonds News. Kev, Ozzy, and I live in Edmonds. I guess it's the time to tell you that we did find a home. Yay! A home that was always meant to be ours. The sellers were looking for the right family. The son of this home grew up here, and he had cared for his mom, who also fought this fight. He and his siblings were looking for just the right family. We were that family. My Bubba, he helped us purchase this home, telling me, you will heal in this home. I know you. You will decorate it. You will love it. You will take care of your husband and your daughter and begin to heal there. I will not let you die in an apartment, Jennifer June. You and Kevin do whatever you can to buy this home. I will help you. And since we've lived a lot of life in this home, Kevin and Ozzy, they've actually taken care of me in this home. Our home has seen the harsh, barren, cold winter days and the brightest of picturesque, sunny Seattle summers. We've thrown 2 birthday parties for Ozzy here and have celebrated 2 Christmases. I started writing my column for my Edmonds News titled, Life, Thank You for Having Me. I am also working on my first book. I don't yet have a publisher, but I am working on my first book. The News has come out twice to interview our family. The first story was a story of a mother clinging on to hope despite a death diagnosis. The second story, they said they've never been able to come back out and do. It's the story of a miracle. We are part of a community, in work, in our neighborhood, and in our day-to-day moments of connecting with others who know of someone in this fight if they haven't experienced it themselves. We've found home. I've now started to speak about my journey and not just write about it. And little Ozzy, she starts kindergarten this year. My health, well, they have not found anything in my brain in the brain scans in the last 2 years of MRIs. It also happens to be Kevin's favorite joke. They didn't find anything again. Another unremarkable scan. The term unremarkable means no tumors, which is actually remarkable. My latest PET scan revealed a baseline activity, which means the cancer is undetectable. This past Monday, I received the results from the latest CT scan of my lungs. So every 3 months, I have a brain MRI as well as a chest CT. They found 3 small nodules around the tumor or mass that's always been there. That actual mass is still shrinking, so the 3 nodules around it are inconsistent and rather puzzling. But here's the good news. Not to worry. Whatever it is, Dr. Chen's response, whatever they are, we can treat them. They are treatable. Why? Because of the research, funding, and resources today. The ones that weren't here when my mom was fighting. 5 new drugs in the past 5 years. That's more than in the last 25 years combined. I have had low-dose chemo. I've had brain radiation. I have also been on 2 drugs that specifically target this mutation of cancer. I receive vitamin C infusions weekly, and I'm on a number of supplements. And there are more treatments still available that I haven't even tried. I also happen to have faith in a God who is bigger than all of this combined. It's a partnership. It takes a village. It takes allies. This takes hope. So where does this leave us? Leave me. I'm here. I am here today, standing here in front of you, sharing my story with joy, with hope, and with a determination to continue to fight the good fight with friends new and old. Because I didn't get to stand here on this mountain alone. None of us have. They say that in a cancer fight, the entire family fights. The entire family experiences this disease, and it's true. As the patient, I am the one who gets the, "You can do this. It's going to be okay. How are you doing?" Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Kevin and Ozzy are fighting just as hard, and they are just as affected. So if it's okay with all of you at this time, I'd really like to ask Kevin and Ozzy to join me on stage. Her feet already gave her blisters, and I thought, oh, don't go up there with bare feet, Ozzy, but she's already learning what it's like to be a woman, so that's good. I appreciate that greatly because I'd like them to represent all of the families who are behind us fighting this fight. Here, you could just stand a little bit, everybody. You can say hi. There's just one last thing I'd like to share with you today. It's something that Kev, Ozzy, and we like to say about our journey so far. What started out a death diagnosis has now become our family's life sentence. And boy, are we living life, aren't we? Thank you so very much for allowing me to share a snapshot of my life with you today. Thank you.